For my second run through of composition exercise number one, I'm going to use 8 randomly generated pitches, again for about 2 minutes. I'm going to do an A-B form where I'm going to do the A is going to be fairly quiet and melodic, and the B will be a lot denser and potentially louder, and the ensemble will be some collection of strings.
Okay, so second time around for composition exercise number one. I decided to go in a completely different direction. We have a 5-part string orchestra, and using a random number generator, got a series of 7 pitches. I generated 2 more just in case I didn't like what I had, and spent some time monkeying around with those 7 pitches and figured that yes, they were going to work for what I was looking for. So decided to go with an A and B sections. In the A section, have a violin 1 melody with the other strings doing chords, 80 beats a minute, which works out to 160 eighth notes, and then using a random number generator again, came up with an 8 measure phrase, which put together is 51 eighth notes. So repeating that 3 times and then sticking a measure of 7/8 on the end. The B section, much more active, much more discordant, moving up to a 120 beats per minute, which is 240 eighth notes. So came up with kind of like an A B phrase within that. So the first phrase is 5 measures, and the second phrase is 7 measures. So do A B back and forth 3 times, and that last time, uh, we'll talk about it when we get there. So looking at the score itself, you can see starting off with the double bass way up in the stratosphere, but it's only 2 notes going back and forth. One, two, for the first phrase, have the two, it's basically a dyad in the accompaniment, doubled in octaves, with a melody part in the violin. So when we get to the end of that phrase, the bass makes the leap down so that it's in a more comfortable register for it. The second change made is that the violin 2 and viola are not starting on the downbeat. They're playing kind of the other half of the measure. And then when we get to the third take of the phrase, putting the bass down one more octave and the cello separating its ties so it's not doing long notes, and using that to have octave jumps just to give a little bit more activity in the cello part. And I guess coming back in the second phrase, I put this in as well, that occasionally you get the violin 2 and viola actually following rhythmically the violin 1. And then a 7/8 measure for a palette cleanser to put everybody into kind of the right octave to go into the faster section that follows. So we have our first 5 measures. And this one was largely improvised in the style of what's going to happen, where the melody is going to go, and how the accompaniment is going to react to it. So copying that first 5/8 from the B section, basically following the same melody, copied and paste, and then just do kind of subtle variations in some of the accompaniment things. And again, going into the next section of that, just kind of playing with it a little bit to make it a little bit more interesting. Some, added tones into the melody part, following along in the accompaniment part. And then for the third time through the phrase, I thought it'd be really interesting just to, because it works out evenly into 40 eighth notes for each of the phrases, to just put the whole thing into 4/4 without changing anything else and just see how that lines up. And when we got to the end, figured that, well, I need one more note. So it's just a little bit over the 2 minutes, but it's close enough. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video.